Hey there, I'm Gary Schuster, your friendly neighborhood inventor, and welcome back to Innovation Cafe. Today we're going a little bit off topic, but sticking with the core of what makes innovation and invention so powerful. Failure. Yes, this is like the fourth video about failure because it's so important to innovation. Today's video is about how we handle criticism and failure. The idea for this came to me when someone left a comment on one of my videos saying, "Stop effing spamming." But they actually use fluffing instead of the other F word, so good creative use there to avoid any kind of censorship. I think that's awesome. And it got me thinking really deeply about how creativity, IP, failure, and criticism are all intertwined in this amazing way. So now first, I get it. Most people don't like being criticized. Inventors, creative types, people who are used to working on complex problems do like being criticized because that's how they know that their thoughts are being picked apart in a way that makes them better. You're vetting them. But for the most part, criticism out of the blue kind of sucks. But that one didn't, because it paid off. It got me thinking, well, what am I doing here with the channel? Sure, a negative comment might sting for a second, especially when it's just not really something constructive. It's just, here's a criticism. But even harsh criticism, even criticism without context, pushes us to improve. At first, my first instinct was, yeah, that's just a regular internet negativity. We'll just ignore it and we'll move on. But instead of ignoring it, I decided to do the inventor thing with it and dig deeper. It reminded me of how criticism can either shut us down or spur us on to reflect and improve. It made me question what I'm doing with my content and how I think I'm going to achieve those goals with the videos I'm making. Now, the comment was made on a video I recorded about a Curb Your Enthusiasm episode, and I love that show. Shout out to Larry David, one of the funniest people on earth, and how popular culture portrays inventors and inventions. The profession inventor hasn't even been considered an official occupation for the US Census in almost a century. That's why I embrace anything that puts inventors, invention, innovation, creativity back in the public eye. As much as I love shows like this, though, they get things wrong when it comes to how things actually work. And that's really what it was about, putting that video on, was it's not as simple as it looks on TV, but it is easy enough. So rather than leave people with a misunderstanding, because, if you're doing a comedy, you're not going to have Larry David stop to do a prior art search. That would just kill the vibe of the show. So, obviously for creative reasons, they can't really make it super realistic, and they shouldn't. But for my purposes, I thought this is a good teachable moment for people about how creativity and innovation really work. So I figured out that I really have 5 general categories of video. The first is how to create and how creativity works. And these are things like how having a different way of thinking, a different brain wiring, what people call neurodiversity sometimes, but I just think of it as diversity in how you think that is really a superpower. It's also about how to regain the impulsive desire to explore that every child has. So how to create and how creativity works is one category. Another is helping regular people understand intellectual property law. And by regular people, I mean even lawyers who didn't take intellectual property law in law school will have difficulty understanding IP law. It's a realm of magic words and phrases in order to make assignments effective. It's a realm where we use phrases and words in ways that aren't the common understanding of them. And so I want people to be able to understand what's going on when they read an article about Nintendo suing someone, for example. And I want, of course, people who are creators, inventors, innovators to be able to more easily and therefore cheaply talk to their lawyers about how to protect their intellectual property. Now, the third is real life stories and events that show how creativity and intellectual property law interact. And I think those are important because people don't understand the important role that intellectual property law plays in the development of most of the things that we enjoy today as a society and as individuals. The fourth is I love intellectual property law, so I also love really weird things about IP law that most people don't know. So I think most people, when they read Nintendo sues over patent breach, they didn't realize that, well, that's only in Japan because patent law is super territorial. So weird little unknown or little known facts about IP law are fun. And finally, and this is the most fun, and I plan to explore it more, the fun parts of invention. I'm going to do a few shorts about some really fun invention play that we can do even as adults. And those things just really will spark, I hope, in adults a desire to play with things, because play is the first step to understanding things. Now, another thing I realized, and I mentioned this earlier, is how artistic license in shows and movies shapes how people think that invention works. People have this idea that Hollywood sort of drummed into our heads that an inventor sits at a table and just works on solving the problem until they're like, Eureka, I got it. And they run down the hall and everyone hugs them and they have the solution. That's great for Hollywood. It's not normally how it works in, real life situations with inventors. A lot of the times you get the invention in your head and you don't even realize the importance of it until a few hours later where you're like, wait, I just solved that problem. I didn't even realize I did it. So it doesn't really work as a Hollywood script to portray things as they really are. I thought by injecting a little bit of reality into these fictional depictions, I can help guide people to where they can take the inspiration of pop culture and combine it with the knowledge that I and others help share, and then become an invention and innovation powerhouse. Because I would love the world to be filled with people coming up with ways to make everyone's lives better. It'll make my life better and those of my family. Now, another thing, as inventors, as creators, as innovators, we should treat criticism the same way that we treat failure. It is an opportunity to learn, to improve, to reflect. One of my favorite quotes is from Winston Churchill, and it sums it up perfectly. Success is not final. Failure is not fatal. It is the courage to continue that counts. And it's the courage to continue that counts. Okay, I went to law school. I have practiced law. I've been a litigator. I still litigate cases. I am used to being called names. I'm used to being criticized. I am used to having judges not buy my argument. I mean, all the things that every lawyer has experienced. So it doesn't really put me off to have some negativity online, but it is an opportunity for me, and I have taken it as such. Failure is a great teacher. So every bit of criticism can be turned into feedback if you just use it as an opportunity instead of as something you need to defend against. So let's wrap things up. Here is the takeaway. Criticism and failure are your friends. They're not to be feared. They're not to be ignored. They are to be understood. And with understanding of what went wrong, you will do it better, more creatively, faster, more powerfully next time. So thank you for tuning into this slightly off topic and kind of meta topical look at how things work for a YouTube creator from my own perspective. Please, this isn't an invitation to just write, mean things in the comments, but legitimate criticism is something that we need in order to succeed. I mean, you've heard where people are surrounded by what is, in a very sexist way, known as yes men, and it's never worked out. And no one who's surrounded by people who just say, yeah, you're right, 100%, that person's not getting good advice. What you want is you want people in a room like the famous book about Lincoln, a team of rivals, a team of people unafraid to criticize the others, to hold their ideas up to scrutiny. So take a look at something you did wrong recently at something that failed recently, at something that you could have done better, and use that as an opportunity to build. When is the last time someone said to you, I really don't like that? Think about why. Think about what it means and think about how you will do things better. I am also doing something new with my videos. I'm introducing sort of a fun after-roll stuff. And today's fun after-roll is going to be a little quiz. I'm going to show pictures from patents, and these are the actual drawings that got filed with the patent office, and let you try to guess what the invention is, and feel free to mention it in the comments. And after a week or so, I'll come back and I'll actually put the patent number and the link in the comments so you'll be able to get your answer. But I will say this, don't use image searching to find the answer. That's, well, maybe use it, but just don't post it. Let everyone else find their own way. It's actually a pretty good opportunity to learn how to image search. You see how I'm doing that? I'm changing direction in the face of self-criticism. Criticism's your friend, man. Use it. So until next time, I'm Gary Schuster. Stay tuned for the fun, see if you can guess the invention. And this has been Innovation Cafe. Keep on inventing and stay tuned for the after roll.